8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Who's that guy? Stay tuned and find out during this week's Geek Chat. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's Geek Chat. I'm Desmond, and I am joined by my good friend,
Joe.
Yeah, so this is my good friend, Joe, and I've known Joe for a very long time. He's almost like a brother to me. We also do a podcast together based on video games. So if you love video games, it's called Gaming Vessels. And Joe, why don't you tell the folks about them, about it?
Well, Gaming Vessels podcast basically is just me, Des, and our mutual friend Kevin. We started back in 2017. I was doing another gaming podcast called Gamer Husbands, but we kind of decided to go off and go on our merry way. Kevin happened to have to leave Gamer Husbands at the time, and so we just decided, okay, we got some good synergy going. We've been friends for a very, very long time, and we kind of just went off and did our own thing. So.
Yep. And you know, a couple years later, here we are, over 200 episodes, going up to 250 episodes. But that is Gaming Vessels. So if you would like to hear us talk about games and the gaming industry, please check us out. We have we're here on YouTube, Gaming Vessels, as well as
your usual RSS feed, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you could find podcasts, we're basically at.
So you might be wondering where Rich is. Well, Rich is on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Rich is back in Banjo country, visiting family. I like to say he's on indoor because that guy's really hairy. So don't tell him I told you that. So but yeah, Joe's going to be joining us, and the next week I'm going to have another one of my good longtime friends, comic book friends, going to be joining us as well. So for this episode, we have another fine giveaway. It is
Imperial.
This fantastic, as I pull it up, it is this fantastic Nightwing number 114 cover. It is a cardstock cover. It is by Aaron Campbell. It's a cardstock variant. It's a 1 in 25 cover D. And as always, you could win this variant. All you have to do is put EXP all lowercase. Sorry, hashtag EXP under lowercase TGC.
EARIANT
to enter our giveaway. Yes, Lorena, it is a Nightwing cover. That's the newest 114 cover. So I just want to say hello to everybody who is in. Welcome, Granil, first time listener. Thank you so much, Lorena.
Thanks,
Make
Granil.
two, Paul.
Hey,
yes, he is not fake Rich. He's a substitute Rich. But Rich will be back.
Rich didn't shave, and just instantly I appeared.
Yes, he shaved. That's Joe's nothing but Rich's beard shavings come to life. Hi, Phil. Also, let all your friends know about the Geek Chat, and while you're doing that, you can let them know about all the other fantastic shows that are on Thursdays on The Experience. Start off with Jam Comics. Then we have the Dan Wickline Show. After that, we have What's in the Box with Miss Jen. She was right before us. So if you ever wanted to guess what's in the box, definitely show up at 4 o'clock and do that. And then you have yours truly, the Geek Chat, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then after us, we have SketchUp with Mog and Mail at 7 p.m. They have a fantastic show. Lots of really fantastic people show up, and they basically sketch while they're talking to all of you. So they have giveaways. They have all kinds of really cool stuff. So now that the money making stuff is done,
Out of the way.
out of the way, Joe and I are going to talk about, because we figured that Joe, and I do a video game podcast as well. We figured, why don't we talk about, some video games that have turned into comic books? The reason being is because I think people, and it's really unfortunate. I think what happens is people look as comic books as sort of, I don't want to say like the bastard child of like other popular media, but it always seems like so much comes from comic books, so much inspiration and so much work, um that comics should be, even though they're video game comic books, they should have the same amount of love and praise. So some of those that we like to talk about, which I'm surprised, I got a list of a few different comic books that were based on video games. One of them is Assassin's Creed, and that's been going on for a very long time, ever since the book started. Um, this is one that I thought was really kind of funny, was Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Oh yeah, I think it was an Archie joint, right? I think if I remember correctly. So
You're correct. Yes, there was
yes,
5 issues. It was by, can you believe this? The artist was Amanda Connor. Can you believe that? Amanda Connor, you're getting ready to start reading some books that have her in it. And Rich Marco Polas was the writer. It came out in September of 1989 and ended in June 1990.
right in the height of the NES era, when everyone, all the Nintendo entertainment system was blowing up.
Yep.
That-
Yep, and it was the first game. It was the first game comic published by Archie Comics, which is hilarious because one of the books we're going to be reviewing is an Archie Comics joint. That's a lot different than what we're used to.
yeah, of course.
And it has not been collected. What are some that you remember, Joe?
Well, I'm a pretty old guy here, even
I would
though
never
I'm
say
looking
that.
quite svelte, but I kind of remember Atari Force back in the day. So it was a DC Comics joint, and it ran for literally, I think, 2 years. I think it was like 14 or 16 issues, I think, of Atari Force, and
It was actually more than that. It was 20 issues.
okay,
Yeah,
somewhere
so there
around
was
there.
so there was Atari Force, which was a mini comic, and that was the one that was 1 through 5, and that was by Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas. And then you had the actual ongoing series, which only lasted for 20 issues, and that was Jerry Conway, Andy Heffler, Joey Cavallari, and Mike Barron, and that lasted from January 1984 to 1985.
You
And
know,
then they had a special one shot.
it was just me, but it's just I always seem to gravitate towards that era and be able to collect all the cross promotion comics of the time, like ROM, Space Knight, Micronauts, and so Atari Force was kind of similar, where it was just a really obscure DC series. I'm sitting here, it's like, I enjoyed video games at the time. I loved the Atari 2600. I remember getting the mini comics
Oh yeah.
as well. They were in the Atari 2600 cartridge boxes, and so it's just like I just remember it's like, oh my god, it's like video games, comics, oh my god, at the time. So
that was the same thing with and people didn't realize this, but that was the same thing with toys that came out. You could get, in the He-Man Master of the Universe, they'd have comics in those toys as well.
yeah.
I wish I'd have kept some of those because some of those are really cool. There was actually, and all the DC property, all the DC video games got a comic book adaptation, and I think one of the best ones was Injustice. I think Injustice was by far one of the best tie-ins to a video game franchise I've ever seen. I think the reason why, because it was a good story before it was a comic. I mean a
video
tie-in,
game,
a fighting game.
yeah.
And I remember I played the game a lot. I played the game sooner before I read the comic, because for a while there I wasn't really like, oh my god, it's like Superman is evil, and why is he evil, blah blah blah. And when I actually read the story, it was actually pretty good. It was pretty good.
It was a good synergy between DC kind of doing a creative endeavor as far as video games are concerned, and to be able to pull this in on there. I mean, it's like an Elseworld story kind of brought to video game
Yeah.
form. It's just kind of crazy. And I know the comic was served as a prequel to the actual game itself. And so it's kind of cool to get to that mixed media going where, in fact, you have a comic and then it leading into the actual story of the game then from there. So,
Yeah, and I think that was another thing that comics serve is they usually serve as a prequel or a continuation, because like a lot of prequels were done. DC did a lot of prequels. Hey, look, Kenneth. Hey, 23 Monarch. Um, that you see a lot of prequels going in. DC always did prequels, especially for their movies, and a lot of their video games were done did comics for. Um, or you can tell other types of stories, which is really kind of cool. I was a huge fan of Dragon Age, and then when Dragon Age came out with their comics, I was like, "Wow, what the hell?" And those were done by Penny Arcade for a long time, and before BioWare did their own publishing, before and with IDW publishing. Dark Horse did it, so as well. I think Dark Horse is the current one right now that has the license, and they're doing these really small, quick stories, usually 3 to 5 issues, and I think that's a great way to bridge the gaps between gaming, because
yeah.
video games take so much time to create, so that way you can kind of keep people still invested in the story that you created.
Oh, it's just creating that kind of universe as far as around these particular games because, like you said, these games do not come out frequently. It's a point that you get the big tentpole game release, and then obviously comics, novels will also kind of fill in the gaps as far as especially with these big BioWare RPG type titles where you got Dragon Age, you have Mass Effect as well, which lends itself to multimedia convergence if need be. I enjoyed the Metal Gear Solid comics that IGW brought out.
Yeah, by Ashley Wood. Those were really bizarre too. Those were crazy, but really really good. I have the collection, and it's just one of those things that you just kind of look at and you're like, what is going on?
Another, good point too is where, I think the Japanese, especially with the NES and the Famicom back in the day, they had good convergence between like, Shonen Jump and basically, video games that were being brought out, way back when. So, all the manga known to man, between The Legend of Zelda, and Dragon Quest and then any number of different series there, kind of see where the synergy kind of goes with that. And then even nowadays, with Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Kenneth. I'm glad that you got the comic. Yeah, I was able to send them all out, so everyone should have their comics, except for Jonathan Tam. You won, but I have not gotten your information. So once JD puts in the information to fill out the form for the winner today, if you're listening, please fill that out, because if we don't get it, we're gonna put it up for someone else to win. So again, we are everyone. We are still giving away a comic. So please, if you haven't already, put in we're giving away this fantastic Nightwing. Please give us write in your hashtag EXP TGC variant. It's always the same. And
except for
that's
that first time. So,
yeah, Nightwing number. Hey, we don't want to bring that up. JD's very sensitive. So it's a Nightwing 114 cover D. It's a 1 in 25 Aaron Campbell cardstock variant. So that is really really strong. So yeah. So yeah. The Japanese really do really know how to. Oh, Canadian survivalist, gotta capitalize that TGC and only one hashtag. one hashtag. But yes, the Japanese are really phenomenal in taking the time to go in and really link their video games and their manga. Some of the best manga that I've read has been from video games, especially Legend of Zelda, Pokemon. Um, what's another one? All the Naruto games that came out. The
Dragon
Strikers
Quest
games.
was
Dragon
specifically for
Quest was
me.
fantastic. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Dragon Quest, fantastic. All of them was just really good. So
but
if you're looking,
sometimes
Final Fantasy too.
yeah, sometimes you could tell though. I mean, especially with the convergence, you could kind of tell where, when you start reading, it's like, what is this? This kind of pablum kind of situation. Hate to say it, but sometimes licensing comes into play, and then, I don't want to be hypercritical, but at the same time, it's like, I'm hoping that once these titles do come out, that they're, written not just as obviously we just got to get this book out no matter what, and be able to go ahead
and
and go from
and
there. So
and some of them are, because I think
yeah,
people also just want to keep their franchises going. I mean,
yeah.
and they want to get that money. And it's funny because I was looking, and like Mega Man, that lasted for 55 episodes from 2011 to 2016 by Ian Flynn, and that was another Archie comic. So Mega Man, same thing with Sonic and Mega Man, even though they're considered quote unquote kids books, they have a really big audience. Like a
And they kind of grew the
really
lore then from there and kept the IP alive, especially with the Sonic and Mega Man, because Sonic at some point, after the Dreamcast came out, and when Sega kind of laid to rest a bit, after the Dreamcast failed, it was a
Mhm.
point that having a monthly issue of Sonic coming out, especially was supportive. There was like a dead time just too when the Sega Saturn was out, where there wasn't a new Sonic game for years and years and years. So that helped keep the IP at least active, and you know active in all the furry fans out there, and be able to still enjoy the lore of Sonic. And that's why I think Sega, it's at the temple for them today, as far as Sonic being their main IP that they are releasing. Every year they have a Sonic game coming out at some point in time. So
Yeah, which is
and
go, I'm sorry.
yeah, which is keeping the company alive. So
Yeah, and funny because Ian Flynn did a ton of stuff with Sonic the Hedgehog as well. So it's like Ian Flynn loves him some Sonic, and I'm just going over this list, and some of these I'm actually kind of like, it's kind of crazy. Like there's been some Resident Evil um comic books, Quake, Prototype, like some of these I never even realized that were around, and then they're still making them. Like Dark Horse is coming out with a Ninja Gaiden one that is supposed to be a continuation of all of the other series that came before it, and it's a hardcover. uh, it's like it's going to be a collection, and I'm like, what are they collecting? Is it a limited series? So there's some big money to be had if you're able to get a license and get on. A friend of mine is actually a friend of mine works with and has written a couple Sonic stories. So like it's out there. So alrighty. So hey, meet Wad. Glad to see Shake let you out. The experience says, we love your opinions. What is your favorite comic book from a video game? Well, for me, only speaking for me, I have to say I really, really, really fell in love with the Borderlands comic. And that was because I fell in love with the game. First game was kind of rough around the edges. Second game, just completely just, oh, fantastic. Just chef's kiss. Great stuff. And then the prequel was the one that really got me into um really got me into it. That the prequel or whatever it's called. But it was the second one that really kind of resonated, and I started reading the books. um I started reading the books right after that, and then I played 3, and 3 just kind of, didn't
Fell
work for me.
flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 fell flat for me, and I think at that point I realized that it was over. And all those, you can buy them all; they're all collected. You can get them from IDW Publishing. They're pretty good. They're pretty good character stories, um, especially if you like, Borderlands and the kind of Mad Max weird style that they have. They're a lot more what's the word? They're not as comedic,
Yeah.
it's a lot more serious. So the original Borderlands was 4 issues, limited series, and there was a Fall of Firestone, and then there was Tannis in the Vault, which is the end of it. So total of, you're looking at 12 issues. Most of it has been collected. You can get them on Amazon relatively cheap.
Yeah, Mr. Towers, I'd like your opinion about Ninja Gaiden, because Ninja Gaiden, especially the NES games, had a particular art style that just lended itself to like a manga type storytelling element to it. So I love playing that game back in the day because of the fact that, literally it's like playing a manga, that and Go-Go 13 on the
No, gosh,
NES.
Global
God,
13, which
which,
was another manga.
yeah, which basically we didn't know at the time, because when I played Go-Go 13, Go-Go 13 basically was a manga series that never was released in the US. And so it's like, it was my first exposure. But imagine having a Japanese, like basically James Bond going all crazy with the, Go-Go 13 with his crazy sideburns and romancing all the ladies and smoking cigarettes and all shit.
It was
King
very
Caboodle, so yeah.
it was very 70s, and I remember, because you played the game. Like, if you're a kid, you probably played the game, and I had no idea what it was until I got older, and then I was able to find the comics. And the comics, even though he literally is a Japanese James Bond, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. And we can't say any. We can't leave this topic without talking about all the Udon books, because
Oh
they're the
yeah.
ones that did like all the Capcom joints to fighting games. They did Darkstalkers. They did
Street Fighter.
um, Street Fighter was another one. Just a ton of stuff that they did. And they have their art style is so fantastic. Especially if you like this sort of like the that kind of hyper American manga style. It's like Joe Mad uh, as well. Just a really good, book. And then, speaking of Joe Mad, Darkstalker started off as a comic book before he opened up Airship Syndicate and went into video games. And you'll
Yeah.
find out that a lot of artists actually are going into video game as designers and concept artists, because they can do a whole bunch of art, get paid quite a bit of money, and then do key art, and then just be done with it. So I think that's one of the things we have to be aware of, is that a lot of artists nowadays are not sticking around. A lot of good artists are not sticking around in the comic book industry because of the pay and everything else. So again, that's whole another story.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
but
Because
you might want to follow some of your favorite artists into video games.
yeah, because Joe Mad, I mean, if you haven't known, he dipped into the world of gaming, and Airship Syndicate is his development house that he's currently running. But he's been making games for years, between what Darksiders and then the whole series, and then of course you mentioned Battle Chasers, of course, on there, and then not Vagabond. What's the Wayfinder is this latest game that's in early access right now on Steam and on PlayStation. So.
And I expect to see a Wayfinder comic coming out at some point. And if you like, and it's really funny, since if you loved Joe Mad's style in the 90s, you could definitely go play his games and see that style in it moving around in 3 dimensions. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Tower says, I wish they continued the game for other systems and, of course, updated to open world. Which game are you which game are you talking about?
He's talking about Ninja Gaiden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Team Ninja might do another one. So
You never ever know. You
Yeah.
never ever know.
And Meatwad says The Last of Us was my favorite. Yeah. it got kind of sad, you know, but it was pretty good. I have to admit. I do think that a lot of people again don't really talk too much about comics and the ties to video games, but I think that they basically feed off of each other, and it is a really good way and a really quick way to breathe more life into a universe that you're trying to create. Perfect example, Halo. Marvel Comics did a Halo, a couple of Halo limited series before the property moved over to Dark Horse. So Hotline Miami, if you're not familiar with that indie game, that came out with, Devolver Digital and Day Job Studios published that, and that whole thing was super crazy. I'm surprised you didn't get that, Joe, because I know you were really, really fond of Hotline Miami.
I never wasn't aware that it even is in existence if need be. So I'll have to go back and maybe I could pick it up on the download.
Yeah, it's there's 2 volumes. It's called Hotline Miami Wildlife.
Ooh.
So yeah, well, okay, that's why they were digital comics originally, and then they were later released as physically and collected by Behemoth Comics. So,
okay.
So, but yeah, tons of stuff out there, and if you love Kingdom Hearts, there's another manga for you. So again, just a lot of stuff out there. And if you're looking for, Injustice, we talked about that earlier. And Injustice was great. And yes, the comic was better than the game. I will definitely side with you on that, Miwad. But having said that, now it's time for our first commercial break. And when we come back, we got a couple of new number ones, and we get to hear Joe's reviews, because if you're not aware, Joe's really trying. He's slowly getting back into comics, so it'd be great to hear a classic. I'm saying classic, not old. Classic comic book readers' take on current comic books. So this is going to be very interesting. So please stick around. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
You love comic books. You collect comic books. But even if you own a rare, expensive issue, it's still a copy. How would you like to own a piece of comic book history? The actual art pages the comics were made from? Oh no, you say. That's too expensive. Regular people can't afford that stuff. Can they? Nick Ferrucci says yes. Join the founder of Dynamite Entertainment for the original art experience on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Incredible art at almost unbelievable prices. Does he have some high-dollar pieces for the high rollers? Sure, but Nick always makes sure to find amazing pieces priced for the fledgling collector. You can collect original comic art. The original art experience. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Part of the experience.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. You are watching the Geek Chat with your host, Desmond.
And Geeks Up Joe.
Yeah. So Joe is filling in for Rich, who is off visiting family in Banjo Country, which we call, down home indoor. So, so as always, you could win a fantastic variant cover. On your screens right now is the hashtag that we would like you to use in order to get this fantastic. Um, it is a 1 in 25 variant cover for Nightwing 114. It's cover G. It is it's by Aaron Campbell, and it is a card stock variant. Very beautiful. Very, 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 very beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Effervescent.
So, experiences, thanks for taking time off from bossing around all those jabronis. Well, he is the jabroni chief.
Yes.
Sort of like Master Chief. Hey, Kelly, welcome in. Okay. So, Mr. Towers, I looked and it looks like there was only for Days Gone, there was only an art book, and that was done by Dark Horse Comics. So, if you're ever at a con, and this is my tip to you, if you're ever at a con, look at the art books and you can probably find it 50% off. I'm just saying, the art books are really cool, but sometimes
Gotta pour one out for Days Gone. I mean, Sony should have released a sequel to that game. I
was
think
so
it got a
so
lot
good.
more love than what they gave it.
They really should have.
Yeah.
It really should have. Yeah, so it's really funny, Mr. Towers. My hubby really likes Xenoscope's stuff because he likes the retellings of various different stories, done with the cheesecake stuff. So it's really kind of funny. So, all righty, everybody. So let's get into these reviews. Like I said before, Joe is getting back into comic books, so I really wanted to try to get him some comics, that I thought that he would enjoy that are coming out this week. And Joe, unlike Rich, although Rich, actually that's not true. Rich was a very huge DC fan when he was younger, and so was Joe. So I wanted to bring him on to talk about Nightwing number 114. This is the original cover right here, not the variant cover that you can win. But this was done by the fantastic Eisner award-winning duo of Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Bruno Redondo was the artist, and the colors was by Adriano Lucas with letters by Wes Abbott. And as we pick up with this story, it's number 1, Nightwing Fallen Grayson, part 1. And this is Tom Taylor bringing Nightwing down from his high horse. Basically, and if you've been following the run, Dick Grayson has become somewhat of a local hero in Bloodhaven. Everyone loves him. The Alfred Foundation has all this money, and they use it to help out, various aspects of Bloodhaven and Gotham and these other areas. And there's a person who is trying to take that away from him. And if you've been following Nightwing, you'll know that Nightwing had a bit of a traumatic experience in which he can no longer jump. He's afraid of he's afraid of heights. So, which is very interesting when you have to basically run around and jump off of buildings onto people. So Fallen Grayson is basically a wounded Robin who can't fly anymore, and this is the beginning of his story, in which Tom Taylor breaks him down to his core, and it starts off with him in this Arctic landscape with his dog with a beard trying to do and find something, and then we flash back to what happened and what led him to leave Bloodhaven. So, Joe, what were your thoughts coming into Nightwing? Because you never really read Nightwing or any of the DC comics in a very long time. So
No, I haven't. Yeah, no. Just to kind of give you a little bit more background as far as my comic experience, at least, is I started collecting when I was like 7 years old. It was like 1977, for God's sake. It was that long ago. But at that time, I was a fervent fan of comics, and so I read all DC, all of Marvel, basically my dad gave me whole hog as far as being able. I was collecting 40 different titles at some point when I was like 9 years old because they were just 40 cents. So
Yeah, it was
you know,
seriously,
so,
you can get like a ton for less than like $5. You had like a stack of comics. I mean, damn,
yeah.
I hate you, inflation.
I know. But coming back to this particular book and this particular character, I haven't really picked up any Titans books or read anything as far as Dick Grayson since like the mid 90s when I stopped collecting comics. And so it's kind of interesting to see the point that he was at. I had trouble figuring out as far as who the female was. I figured it was Barbara Gordon, which it
It
was.
is.
So, and
Yeah, they are dating. They are a couple now. They are actually a couple.
I last time I heard of Barbara Gordon, she was Oracle and she was in a wheelchair. So that's my
Still
thing.
Oracle,
So
no longer in a wheelchair.
yeah, so there's been so many like reboots and so on and so forth where I'm kind of familiar because I kind of keep a curious eye on it, and then of course I told Desmond, but basically I still keep up with comics, but I just read trades and I basically go to my library and get things like like trades I could get and browse and see what I like. And if I find something I actually do indeed enjoy, I actually will go out and purchase said graphic novels or trades if need be to kind of just have it for my own. So, but this is kind of cool that I'm able to go into a store and buy variants now. Is something that I wasn't accustomed to, and it's like as far as what I enjoyed from the story, though, it just kind of gives me a good base to resume and see what Dick is up to. And it's kind of leading to the point, at least in this particular issue of, basically explaining this villain that's kind of working in the background against him. I'm not sure if he's a noted villain as far as.
He's not. He's a villain that's been in only specifically in Nightwing, and
Got it.
he's been working in the background. It's a lot of mob type of stuff and mob ties that's been going on, and I think that's really fun about Nightwing's character is that he doesn't fight super robots and supercomputers and stuff like that. Like he's very much stuck in the street villain type of stuff.
Got
And
it.
and
So,
I really enjoy that about him and about his character.
so
He's
no
very down to earth.
hyperbolic rogues gallery like Batman is stuck with, I wouldn't say stuck, but,
Oh, he's
iconic.
stuck with them. You're right.
Yeah. Joker, Penguin, Riddler, all that and all this. So,
Mhm.
so it's kind of cool just to see, and it's my first exposure to Damian Wayne too. So it's like in the book, they actually showed where they had the Alfred Pennyworth charity event and they showed Bruce there, of course.
Yeah, you didn't know he
Damian,
died.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had no knowledge as far as all that. So,
So when you read a book like this, does it make you want to go pick up a trade for Nightwing and see what's going on? Because I know we talked in the past, and you were thinking about, I was trying to steer you into different places that you could possibly get back into, like the those were the
I
Secret Six and
this particular.
Spiral and
Yeah. This particular book, it spoke to me because of the fact that I was a very fervent Batman fan. I mean, if you want to talk about like old school 70s, 80s back in the day, I mean, I collected the Batman family series, so I mean, you going back to like Batgirl, Man Bat, all that, so
yeah, those Bad Family books they were so much fun back in the day.
yeah. So, so this it really popped to me. I think the colors and specifically is just I love the cardstock. I'm not
Oh yeah.
used to just taking a look at the way comics are printed nowadays.
That's
And
only the
so
variant cover, though. Only the variants for DC have cardstock, which I think is fantastic. They charge you an extra $1 for it, but I think that's okay.
yeah,
The Marvel stuff, their variants, they don't. It's not cardstock. It's just regular stuff. It's just a variant cover. So I do think that you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck with the DC stuff.
yeah, and I had a point of reference at least with this book where I was actually able to kind of pick it up. Okay, this is Dick Grayson, this is Bruce, kind of getting the whole meat of the story. So I'm definitely enthused about continuing and reading this, at least picking up from this particular issue, and then seeing if I could fill in any of the backstories as far as Bloodhaven is concerned. So
Yeah, and the Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo, that their series has been really really good, and it is they are an Eisner Award winning team, and the stuff that they have done with Nightwing has been good. It has been good. Of course, there's little ups and downs with everyone's story, but by and large, it's a really strong. They're a really strong team, and you really can't go wrong. Like if you were to pick up a DC comic, you really couldn't go wrong with Nightwing. I really enjoyed it, and I think I thought it was a really fun read about how human Dick Grayson is. So I really think that you should give it a try if you're looking for something to read. Definitely give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Towers. Yeah, I love that. It cardstock just makes it so much better. It's just so much nicer. So, and because of that, I also gave you a Amazing Spider-Man number 50. I figured I would bring that out. That way you could take a look at Spider-Man. And this is the 50th. I think this is like the third or fourth 50th issue of Spider-Man that we've had.
Yeah.
And it was written by Zeb Wells, and the artist was Ed McGuinness. Inker was Mark Farmer, with Marcio Mins, with Eric
Arsene. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it too. So
that's what we do. Sorry, like if you're watching, Eric, I'm sorry. We love you. Yeah. So this was a not a giant size issue. No, we talk about it a lot, but this was basically a I don't want to say watershed moment. It's just basically one of the things where everything comes to a head between Norman Osborn and Peter Parker. And part of me, and it was funny because when I was reading it, whether you love or hate Zeb Wells, he's definitely a polarizing writer. And if you haven't been following with the Golden Goblin, and you haven't been following the Spider-Man universe, you might be a little discombobulated by it. But yeah, Norman Osborn's supposed to be, fixed. He was the Golden Goblin, and he was supposed to be a good guy, but come to find out he's actually not. It was all a lie. Big surprise. And Spider-Man, of course, was like, I knew you would do this. So they basically had these different countermeasures for each other. But the Goblin at the end had the last laugh and basically corrupted Peter Parker with this gas. And the living brain, which I think is actually kind of a cool thing. There's this like living brain who knew what was going on and knew what was happening, and he was trying to it became really a 70s kind of sci-fi story for a minute there, when the brain kind of gave birth to itself.
Yeah.
And it needed to help Spider-Man and stuff. I don't know. It was a little crazy. And Dr. Kirk Connors was there, and I'm used to Ed McGuinness's art where he basically drew everyone really kind of like big and muscle bound, and his artwork has really toned down as well. So it didn't even really seem like it was him. So I don't know. I don't know. I thought the some of the stories in the back were a lot better, only because they were like days in the lives of Spider-Man, and I thought that was just, I don't know. This story was just, even in just this one, it was just so convoluted in their fight scene that I was just like, yes, Kelly, it was very, very messy what was going on, and it was just kind of silly. And then the Craven's in there because a couple stories back, a couple of chapters back, Craven supposedly cured Norman Osborn, but it was a fake. And yeah,
there's a lot to go and try to pick up on, at least. But I appreciate that. I wasn't aware that Marvel puts like a little synopsis of what's going on as far as in the front.
Yeah.
So, and like, this is the variant cover I got. So,
it's a really great cover.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, you get a little blurb at the beginning as far as the whole, like, what's going on with the book and so on and so forth. Because it kind of helped me out, at least as far as to figure out, because of the fact that, I haven't really read a Spider-Man monthly book since McFarlane. I mean, that's how long ago.
Wow. Those are like in the 300s.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have not read Spider-Man because I was more of a DC guy, but I did dip into Marvel quite a bit, and I appreciate Spider-Man for what it is. I mean, I've read the original Stanley Ditko run. on there. I remember all the Roy Thomas Spider-Mobile craziness and all this other stuff. So I'm very familiar with the character, so it kind of felt great to just get back into the mix, even though I know you felt the story was a little bit convoluted. It just gave me an idea as far as what this particular arc was kind of encapsulating as far as the ending, because I felt like, especially with this big issue, that it was a point that this was a kind of an apex of a long-going storyline that they were running on this book. I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
This how has it been since issue 1, or has it been like more like?
No, it's been about like the last 20 issues. So
Got it.
the whole thing with for the last like 2 years, because there was a Norman Osborn was cured, he became the Golden Goblin, and he was actually fighting crime and being a good guy. So, but then it was this is kind of like the reveal that Peter Parker knew that he was a liar, and this is both of them doing their trump cards, but
Yeah.
so now we have to basically face an evil version of Spider-Man again. So
Yeah, and I kind of appreciate it, even though I'm jumping in and not knowing exactly everything or minute details, but they had at least enough recaps. You got your usual asterisks as seen in ASG, or ASM issue da 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 da.
yeah,
So it's like,
gotta love those.
love those panels because it gives me some sort of frame of reference as far as the stories in the back, because this is a double-sized issue. I really enjoyed the Black Cat story.
Yeah, that was
In
by Marv
particular.
Wolfman.
Yeah,
And Marv Wolfman was the writer. Terry Dodson was the penciler. Rachel Dodson is the inker. She's always inks her husband's stuff. And Terry Dodson was the colorist. So he colors his own stuff. And yeah, I really thought that was kind of fun too. It was just, they're always, that weird sexual tension between the two of them. And it was kind of like a nice little harken back to like her father, who was the original Black Cat, and just it was kind of fun. It was cute.
yeah. I mean, I remember when Black Cat first came out, I think, and it was in the early '80s, I think, and so I just loved that character. Loved the fact that they kind of went back to the kind of character interaction between Peter and Black Cat in particular. So, I like the donut side story too. There was a little subsection
by Nikesh Shukla, and one of my favorite artists. If you have not read, Chris Cross. If you have color artist was Andrew Dahlhaus, and letter was VC's Joe Caramanga. If you have not read Peter David and Chris Cross's Marvel comic, fantastic art. The art is great. The story is great. Definitely check it out. But yes, I loved that with the donuts and him with going and delivering the mom's medicine, and just a day in the life of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's like stuff like these character moments like this really endear Spider-Man to people, and I just love him for it.
And I love the fact too they threw an epilogue at the end as far as from the continuation of the main story. So with the walking brain, and I didn't really get the Doctor Strange kind of tie in with that short story, because I don't know what's up with Doctor Strange, but
this could be anything at this point, because there's a giant Marvel thing going on with like Blood Hunt, but I don't think it's part of that. I just think he showed up to hang out with Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange was all busted up. So I think that was just another day in the life, just like the weird one by Lee Gatlin, which was the comic strip one where they're trying to do Spider-Man's, and he was birthday party and messing with Ben Grimm and stuff, and the Rhino. Like that literally was just for you to hang out and have fun with, and I really enjoyed it. Like I thought that was really silly.
I was more like the comic snobs, like what's this doing in the middle of this book? So
you can be like that, but don't be like that.
Yeah.
But the last couple of pages by Todd Knock was fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Todd Knock, so to see him doing Spider-Man is really good, and I really hope that he's able to do a little bit more with the character, because I love it.
Well, I may have to resume reading Spider-Man now. So
no, I would wait until after Zeb Wells is over. They're gonna restart it soon when the next movie comes out. So I would read these in trades if you really want to get into it, or read something older. So, and Experience, he doesn't know who Miss Marvel is, and doesn't know what the death is, and stuff like that. He's probably after his time. So
I know Miss Marvel from like the 1976 book that Marvel brought out from back in the day. I remember
Yeah,
that book.
so he doesn't exactly. So he's like, who is this person? I don't know. So speaking of someone that he's probably surprised about was Spider Gwen, Spider Ghost #1. Writer Stephanie Phillips. Artist was Frederica Manson. Color artist was Matt Milla, and letterer was VC's Ariana Mayer. So this was a complete, blank slate. You didn't have to really know what was going on. This was a new #1 about Gwen Stacy. What were your thoughts? I'm sure it was like, isn't she dead?
No, I kind of knew from the Spider-Man movies, as far as the animated
Yeah.
movies, as far as Gwen Stacy is concerned. So,
Yeah.
An idea. There was a nice explanation at the beginning of the book too, to explain as far as the whole synopsis and how come she was hiding in this particular universe, this alternative universe, if need be. So, I got this wonderful variant cover too. So, looked kind of nice. I got my
Wow. You went
nice
all out.
choice. So.
You went all out on the variants for this one. See, he's getting back into comics, Joe. I'm sorry.
I just watch you and Rich go back and forth and showing your variants and what you got for the particular week. So it's like I figured I want to join along just to kind of mix it up if need be. So
I'm glad you did, because, like, again, I think the one thing that I really think that's really cool that you do is you actually go to the library and you use your local library to catch up on stuff. And I think that is such a perfect way to get into comics if you don't want to spend the money, because comics are expensive. Going to the library and reading them, and then if you like it, going in and buying it. It's another great way to get kids into it, because you can buy them like a stack of, check out a stack of graphic novels and then just have them go through it. So
yeah, I mean, library, I would say all day, all day long. I mean, pretty much I could go back and take a peek into the last 10, 20 years of Marvel and DC and to be able to go ahead between getting physical books and also getting digital and checking out things that way as well. So as far as what I felt about this book, though,
welcome, Shoku Black. Thanks for joining us. So what'd you think? What'd you think of Spider Gwen, the Ghost Spider?
Well, I have no, I'm like you said, Gwen Stacy is the person that died like back in 1972, and it's cool to kind of see her character from the movie that I'm familiar with, as far as the multiverse movie, and to be able to see, okay, I could see she's stuck in this, particular world, and I like the artist. I like the script as far as how it was written. I felt that the layout was great too. Nice splash pages if need be. I thought Craven looked a little bit too cartoony for my taste, but that's just me on there. But I got a nice little taste as far as her kind of going into this new world and trying to be basically hidden like in a witness protection program kind of thing, as far as I'm not sure what that organization is that she's hiding from, the TVA. Yeah. So is that just a Spider-Man universe thing?
Nope.
Or is it more?
So the TVA was introduced in Loki, and well, actually, they were actually introduced a while ago. I think, to tell you the God's honest truth, I think they were actually introduced, I want to say, back in She-Hulk or something. Well, anyway, all they are they're basically continuity cops. Basically, is what they are, and they go to different timelines to make sure that those timelines are not corrupted. And so Spider-Man, being the whole web universe and everything, I guess she kind of ran afoul with the TVA. So they're the temporal variance authority is who they are, and they protect timelines from getting too wacky and stuff. And if you want to see a lot more of them in action, you would want to watch Loki. See, there you go. Thank you, Steve. I did not know that. Fantastic Four 338, 1989 by Walt Simon. That's when they debuted. So there you go. I did not know that. So Walt Simon.
I was reading Fantastic Four at that time too, so I don't know why I didn't remember, but obviously it's been that long. So
we have conflicting. Experience says it was Thor 372, 1986. Ooh, so either Thor or the Fantastic Four is right. We'll let them square it out and duke it out. So for me, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I thought it was interesting. I I find it very hard for me to be angry at Spider-Man characters because I love Spider-Man so much, and I absolutely fell in love with the Spider-Verse and that whole thing. Dan Slott really, you know, tapped into something amazing, something amazing with that. And so having all these various um different types of Spider-Man running around, I find it very hard like to hate any of them because I'm such a huge Spider-Man fan. I mean, he is like one of my, if not all-time favorite singular comic book characters, Spider-Man. So for Gwen, I I took the time and read it, and I'm like, okay, you know, there was nothing. It's weird because I think the backstory that sets up all of this is kind of compelling, but I don't know how long the legs are going to be on that because they've already alluded to all these other people that you can't talk about, and then all these people know that she's on. So I'm expecting to see a whole bunch of people showing up to see her and ask what's going on because she knows all these people. So I expect there to be a bunch of different spider people jumping in and out of her book. And that's fine. I think that's great for sales because people are going to want to see some of these people. Definitely Spider-Man, definitely Miles. Not so sure about Silk, but we'll see. You know, so I want to see where she goes. I want to read the number 2. I want to try because a lot of these series live and die by their number 2s. People always think the number 1s are what they're counting, like Marvel and DC and all that. No, it's number 2. Because it's between number 1 and number 2 that you see the greatest fall off. And if there's a huge fall off between 1 and 2, then they see that as maybe people aren't interested in the comic book. So if you really want a comic book to last, you really need to buy like the first, I would say 3 or 4 issues, or at least the first arc. Because that's what's going to show Marvel, DC, and these other studios that, or publishers, that people are interested in the book. So
is this a new ongoing, or is it
it's an ongoing? Well,
oh, okay.
Marvel does this weird thing where they very rarely announce limited series. And the reason why they do that is because if someone says, oh, this is a limited series, people are going to say, well, I'll just wait till it's traded, you know, and so they don't get any money, you know. So yeah. That's exactly experience, as ongoing as anything. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to basically pay for the first arc,
5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6, usually 5 or 6. And then if it's good, they'll continue going. If you want to see this in action, check out Spider-Woman. He has been stopped and start more times than a broken down Chevy. It's like, you can definitely try to, it's really weird. But on that note, it is time for us to take our last commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to jump into the land of the indies. And I'm going to see what Joe thinks about independent comics nowadays. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
What do you call the place on Spider-Man's wrists where the webs come out? His website. I hate myself for writing that joke, but you'd make me feel so much better if you just visited our website. We have links to our merch, new release lists, all the show info, and so much more. TheEXPLive.com.
Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today. Some comic live streams seem like they're just throwing everything at the wall. Hey, you want this unknown comic? Yeah, here, how about this boring one? Found this one in a rain gutter. Give me some money for it. I know this looks like a rotting sandwich, but I swear it's a comic. Pay me! But with Comic Collectibles, we know you don't just want comics, you want the right comics. You want rare variant and incentive covers, vintage books in pristine condition at prices you won't find anywhere else, and truly unique hand-drawn cover sketches by some of the most amazing artists in the business. Join Rex and his rotating cast of co-hosts live from Dynamite Entertainment headquarters for a carefully curated roster of comics that you'll only find here at Comic Collectibles. Every Monday at 6 and Wednesday at 7 Eastern Time. Part of the experience.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Geek Chat. You're watching us here on The Experience. You can check us out on all the fantastic places that you would normally see fantastic stuff like this, which usually is on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And we are giving our giveaway. Yes. Our variant giveaway. It is the Nightwing 114 that we spoke about earlier. We both loved it. We hope you love it too. It is by the amazing, oh my lord, Aaron Campbell, and it is the cardstock version, variant version of Nightwing 114. So again, all you have to do is put in that hashtag hashtag EXP uppercase TGC lowercase variant to enter our giveaway. Please note that you have to do this only on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, because that's the only time you can do it. That's the only place you can do it so far. So please do it on that. Also, on
everyone.
Also the experience. On the experience, every day there's something going on, so please tune in on Thursdays, which is our day. We have 5 fantastic shows for you to choose from. First up is Jam Comics. Next is the Dan Wickline Show. After Dan is What's in the Box with Miss Jen. She's right before us at 4 o'clock. And if you like what you see here, please come back. We're here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are followed at 7 by SketchUp with Mog and Mel. Please take your time and check them out as well. They sit around and draw really cool art, and they give some of it away sometimes. So please check it out. So our final segment, I didn't do this in this specific order, but it seems like the last ones are independents, and they're all a bit graphic. So are you used to graphic comics, Joe? Or are you used to the 70s wholesome,
No,
bad family type stuff?
I have read my quite a bit of Vertigo stuff and other items, so I am used to whatever's clever. So okay, I'm down for
he's down
graphic. Yes.
So the first graphic one we read was The Butcher's Boy. And that's a story by Landry Q. Walker and Pennell Vaughn. Script by Landry Q. Walker, art by Justin Greenwood, colors by Brad Simpson, and letters by Pat Brassu. Yeah, cannibals. You can't live with them. You can't let them eat you. I'll let you explain the story because I don't know. I'm not a big horror comic fan, but I don't know. This one kind of spoke to me a little bit,
Well, it's because it has like this kind of like teen horror motif. And so at the beginning of the book, you basically get a synopsis of a day in the life of these various teens talking about this road trip that they're going to go on. And once basically they show a panel above on each page of each character as they introduce them. And then later on in the weekend, show them just encountering such blood craved horror of this destination they wound up going to on this road trip. And so it's just
Yeah.
kind of crazy to see at least the characters introduced this way, with just the introduction on the top panel, and then all this craziness which you have no idea what the whole thing is about. Even one of the characters, I don't want to spoil anything,
No,
but
we talk about spoilers.
yeah, one particular female character, she basically they kind of jump to Saturday and they show her holding her decapitated head, basically. So it's just like, okay, how did this happen and why did this happen? So
Yeah,
that's
and
the
she's
whole,
talking, and
yeah,
and so I don't know. There seems to be some kind of demonic magic or something. All suffice to say is this woman, one of the teens is a vlogger, of course, and so she told her friends. The other friends don't like her. She's one of their friends' girlfriend, and they don't like her, and she's the one that came up with this idea to go to this haunted place. And supposedly there was this story of a butcher who got lost in a silver mine, and he came back and he started eating people, and they locked him in the mine, and he's supposed to be back there. And so the opening, you're getting glimpses of supposedly what's going to happen to them, and they're all like, the one kid has a gash in his forearm, and it has these teeth, and it's talking to him. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a bloody good ride if you like that stuff. But then it goes into like the present, and when you have them getting to the place, and they're all having their own kind of teen angst, thing. This one guy thinks that one of them ghosted him, and she's like, we weren't together. And then this new boyfriend and girlfriend couple are just kind of like, why are we here? And so just a lot of teen angst stuff that you would get from a Final Destination movie or
yeah,
another Bloomhouse type movie. And that's really what this felt like to me, was a Bloomhouse movie. And I don't know if you've watched for a while, Joe. Rich and I always think about, like, what was this made for? Why was this comic made? And this comic honestly read like a pitch for a either a TV series or a movie. Like, you literally got, this could literally be the opening salvo for some kind of Max title or something about these kids who get lost. I mean, it's weird. One of the scenes is a kid is hacking away at a piece of meat that has eyes in it, and it's talking to him. So yeah, and the way the kids are talking to each other, it seems like if you've watched one of those movies, you can see this coming a mile away. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. Those Bloomhouse movies sell like hotcakes because people, young adults, love to be scared, and they love stuff like this. So if you were the type of person who likes, Bloomhouse shows, you like Smile, and you like those kind of teen horror movies, I think that you could do worse than reading this book, especially if you like stuff like that. For me, it's a no, because I don't really like stuff like that. And I have a hard time with angsty stuff in my media, like angsty kids, like that last Harry Potter, like the second to the last Harry Potter, the first Deathly Hallows. Oh my God. I knew there was a Horcrux messing with them, but all their angst after all the stuff they've been together, I was like, y'all need to shut up. So anyway, that's a separate story. but what about you, Joe, as a comic book reader coming back into the arena?
yeah,
Number one of an indie, would you pick it up again? Would you pick up this trade, or would you pick up the continuing story?
Just like you said, it kind of spoke to me like if it was a movie, it belonged in a different property or a different medium, I should
Right?
say. So, I mean, if I'm going to read a horror comic or horror book, if need be, I'd rather read a horror manga, something like, Monster from Urasawa. I don't know if you ever watched that show on, I think it's on Netflix, but there's also released through Viz on there. But it's just, there's so much other better horror books out there than the whole teen motif with the going out to a deserted town and seeing all the kind of dead eye, like kind of residents and at this particular diner. And, obviously with this curse that's in this town and so on and so forth. I mean, I would like to see what twists and turns happen in the story later on, but I'm not sure if I'm curious enough to actually go out and purchase $5 books to compile this particular story up to 5 issues, I believe. So I
Yeah.
don't think this is an ongoing series if need be, but
No, it probably isn't.
yeah. But as far as the art, I mean, I like the art style. I could give the art style. I think the layouts are pretty well done. Like the coloring too. So I
Yeah.
mean, at least it has that going for it. So
But did you notice? I know you didn't watch the show, but that main guy in the cover, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but they made him look like Danny Masterson from that '70s show, and
I know.
I think that was a way to make it so you didn't initially like the person because they made him look like a person that is in prison for doing some really
Nefarious
grotesque
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
So I think they did that on purpose. So, but yeah, I probably will not be getting it again. Or if I do, it would be a half off bin at a comic convention. Again, I'm telling you, folks, if you want to take a chance on comics, go to your comic book con and look for the half off trades. They're usually 20% to 50% off, and you can get a ton of stuff. That's pretty much what this back is. Half off trades. Well,
Grenell had a point. Yeah.
Grenell reads comics. Something is Killing the Children is my favorite ongoing horror comic. Yeah, that the new issue came out today or yesterday on Wednesday. So yeah, there you go, Joe. If you want to pick up something, you might want to check out Something is Killing the Children. It won the award for the longest title, by the way. Just kidding. Next up is a book that I don't know. This takes me back, to a certain era of Image Comics. Blood Squad 7. And as you look at this cover, and it just screams, 90s nostalgia. And part of me likes it, and part of me is just like, script was by Joe Casey. Art was by Paul Fry. Colors was by Francisco Segala. And color assist by Gloria Martinelli. And letters was by Russ Wooten. So I'll let you start this one, because it's a superhero team, and this is the type of superhero stuff that we get in Independence a lot of the times. So what was your thought?
Yeah, just reading it, just a lot of like exposition about this particular conflict. You're showing the president, and the chief of staff and press secretary talking about this implementation of this superhero squad, Blood Squad, being put out in the field again after 20 years. I guess they went away with some sort of controversy of some sort, some PR mess of some sort, and so. I appreciate the fact that, but it seemed like most or half of the book was all about this like exposition about the president and the leader of the team going back and forth with the government liaisons and them arguing back and forth about what they should reveal to the public and so on and so forth. So I wish I would have saw more of what this team is and what they're doing and whatnot. It gave me some authority vibes too.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that. That's literally what that cover reminded me of, and it just seems like it's that early aught, Mike Millar sort of authority stuff that we're getting, because these are heroes government sanctioned heroes that were put out to pasture and now they're back, but they're not all good. Ooh,
Yeah.
they're not all good people because they've been out of the limelight and now they have to be pushed back into the limelight. And so for me, that added a little bit of interest to it, because it's like these are people who've been out of the public eye for so long, and they don't know how to play that PR game, especially nowadays. I mean, it ends off with one of the members having, some weird drunken sexcapade in which he released his powers and killed like two of the people that he was with. So it's like, okay, so it's very adult. It's a very adult book, but we've done adult books before with the Authority, with other Image books. So I hope that Joe Casey has the ability to move it into a better direction. If you're going to talk about media responsibility, then let's do that, because we already saw that with The Boys, and how the Vought company did all that with them, and how they were, the personalities and people love them and all that stuff like that. So if we're going to get another rehash of Authority, why? Although this is the only one of the two the three indies that we read that didn't really read like it was going to be a TV series or something. Like, it really read like a comic.
Yeah, it did.
And I think that's just because of Joe Casey and his tenure and long-term, longevity with comic books. So,
I like the art though.
Oh yeah, the art was great. Like, I thought the art was really like, I really enjoyed the art. It's just the story was a little like, eh.
I'm just trying to catch everything, in this. I wish there was more exposition as far as what the squad was doing out on they were in a remote area, some sort of area in like Eastern Europe, and obviously, I'm just getting a feel for these characters, and it's just like, after reading this book, I hate to say it, but unless that big shocker at the end with them, if you look at the cover right there, you see the main hero with that long spine looking thing where, obviously he's doing outrageous things. He's a angsty anti-authority superhero,
Yeah.
So
yeah. And again, I did not see the cover that you're talking about. That was the cover B, and that's the one that we got is the cover A. The main cover. So that's the cover A. So I didn't see that cover, and I don't guess the place where I got it from didn't really order that much. But yeah, Steve says it's more of a Youngblood analog. Joe Casey had a hand in rewriting, remastering the original series for Liefeld, after all. That's what it is. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Steve. Yes, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a much more modern Youngblood. It's like if the Youngblood characters were older and then were brought back. Yeah, that's a really good. I hadn't even thought about that. I didn't know that. But you can definitely feel it and see it in this. And I think it's connected to another book that we reviewed, but unfortunately I can't remember the name of that book. So go back and watch one of our older episodes. You'll see it. So the last book that we reviewed, and I had to get this for Joe. Like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make you read this one because it was bananas. It is an Archie Comics Judgment Day. You guessed it. It is no, I don't think it's Local Man. But yeah, I'll see if I can figure it out, and I'll tell you on the next episode. But yes, Archie Comics Judgment Day. Can you believe this? Archie is a demon slayer. What? Story was by Aubrey Sitterson, line art by Megan Hitchinson, colors by Matt Herms, letters by Jack Morelli. And yeah, we don't know why, we don't know how Judgment Day has hit Riverdale, and Archie has to stop it, but Archie doesn't stop it. Archie doesn't stop it the way you. No, Archie is not having his day in court. Archie is definitely judge, jury, and executioner in this one. So Archie, I don't know what happened. Judgment Day happened. It came to Riverdale, and Archie meets Madam Satan, who is, I found out, who is an Archie character. Madam Satan was from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And so she helps Archie defeat a demon, and then she ties she tethers a demon to Archie's soul. And so now Archie has a demon Archie on his back, helping him fight the demons of hell that have infested Riverdale. And the first person he runs into is Jughead. And he has to use this bat. He doesn't have demonic powers, I don't know, in order to fight off this demon that is attacking Jughead. But at the same time, the demon is telling him to eat and kill Jughead, but he's like, I can't. And so he's all got this demon in his head, and Jughead is like, oh, and he's like, I'm gonna save everybody in Riverdale. It is the weirdest thing. Like,
no, it was Reggie that was infected with a demon.
Yes, it was Reggie. That was what was so hilarious. And I was like, Reggie? What? Like, we haven't seen Becky and Veronica yet, so I have no idea what's happening to them. Betty and Veronica. I assume they're going to be succubis or something, but it's just like, I look at this thing and I'm just like, I get it. It's their red label Archie Comics stuff, but man, oh man. Sorry, it's an Archie premium event. Wow.
Yeah, like, premium event.
Wow. What were your thoughts, Joe?
Just looking at this, and just the issue was kind of like, maybe not a lot of pages. It was not a lot of pages. No, and a lot of like, full page, the art is great. I could give it up to the art, but when you got in these big full expose 2-page panels, it's like, okay, what are you really telling here? It's like, demons, and all this horrific, like, pentagrams, and it's like, it's unnecessary. It's Archie Comics, for God's sake. It's what are we going to bust out? Like, are we going to see a revision of Harvey Comics? I'm going to see Casper the demonic ghost, and Richie Rich like coming up from the grave or something like that. It's like, come on.
You just might. And Steve says Betty Nirvana as suck you by. I can see it. Kevin says, is Kevin done as a BDS Dom? I don't know. We haven't seen anybody else, so we have no idea what's happening. But the funny thing about this is Joe's right. A lot of the main stories, like the scene where Archie was being tethered to the demon, is like Archie eating himself, and like parts of his own body are coming out of his mouth. So it's like they're being graphic to be graphic with Archie characters. So
yeah.
So there is a level of morbid curiosity to see how far they're willing to take these Archie characters, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, do I really want to like go on this ride? Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like the Sabrina book was actually pretty good. It was mature. It was about Salem witch trials. It was fun. It was good. This one just seems like pure unadulterated exploitation of this franchise, and I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just a lot, is what I'm saying. Evil
for the sake of being evil. And it's like, to me, it's almost like, where's the soul in this book? It's just like what are you gonna do? It's like, oh, Archie, Jughead, Reggie, we're just gonna demonize them and put a bunch of pentagrams and cast a demon on Archie and all this other stuff. It's so, unless I'm just like embedded in Archie Comics lore and I want to see this take on this particular character, this is like an Archie Elseworld, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, it's
and so, I just don't want to be there for it. I don't think Archie as a character and as a universe doesn't warrant this particular take, and that's just my thing. I even bought it. Look,
yeah, I got it too. And Experience says, I mean, if this were the plot of Rivendell show, I would have watched it. So You know what? Rivendell got kind of weird towards the end there, where there were like, I think there was like supernatural stuff that happened in the show before it ended. So Riverdale got kind of went off the rails. I stopped watching it after the first season. I couldn't. It was too weird. Like they were weird for the sake of being weird, and I think this is the same way. So I really don't know what to say about this Archie comic Judgment Day thing. Again, half off graphic novels is your friend. So if any of this sparks your interest, you could definitely go to a comic convention. There's tons of them around, and you can generally find someone selling the stuff for like 20% off or half off. So definitely, I think that's the way to go with some of them. Shark Meat Jump, yes, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Although I think the one that was really crazy was, I think it was Archie versus the Predator. I think that was one that was really that was like a lot.
I'll give it up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to get some.
Steve is right. You know, Archie's publisher is trying to adapt with the times, change or die. Can't blame him. Yeah, there you go. You know, and if I'm telling you, if that Butcher's Boy sells and these Bloomhouse, you know, movies, seriously, they're cheap to make and they sell like gangbusters because young teens on a Friday night, you know, want to take their honeys, you know, and cuddle up to a scary movie. They sell. I mean, they really sell. And I think books like this, you know, they're really easy to produce and they're quick, you know, and if you're able to get 4 or 5 issues, 6 issues out of it and then collect it up, it's on a shelf. So really take a chance on it. So think about it like that. If you're into seeing Archie be perverted and crazy, then definitely take a look. But I'll keep mine, you know, colorful.
Yes.
So, all right, everybody, it's almost that time. So if you have not already posted the hashtag in either YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, please do so right now. You will win. I'm surprised I cannot remember this person's name. You will win a fantastic 1 in 25 variant cover of Nightwing 114. It's cover D. It's a 1 in 25 Aaron Campbell card stock variant. All you have to do is put in hashtag lowercase EXP uppercase TGC variant. It's right there. VARINT. We will be rolling in a few minutes. Thank you, Phil. You got in. So if that's it, all right, my friend JD, spin that wheel, please.
Good luck, everyone.
Our lovely assistant JD. Let's see. Oh, Lyle Hobson, you are the winner. Lyle, if you could please do me a favor. JD is going to put in the comments a link for you to fill out. Please fill that out. I need to have that information because that's how we're going to get you your variant comic. Okay, so it's in there right now. Please click in there. 72 hours. Please do that. I want to be able to get this stuff because if not, it just sits in my house and then we have to do the drawing again. So please. Want to say thank you to Geek Sub Joe for sitting in for Rich, who is on his banjo vacation, visiting his yokels in the backwoods somewhere. I don't know, wherever Ewoks go, that's where he's at. He's not listening to this probably, or if he is, haha. But next week we will have another guest sitting in that chair as well, good friend of mine. If you're interested to hear more of me and Joe and our friend Kevin, who's actually in watching right now, thank you so much, Kevin. Check out
Gaming Vessels.
Thank you so much. Check out Gaming Vessels. It is wherever you can listen to fine podcasts, or you can go to YouTube. We're on YouTube now. Our newest episode just came out. It's over 2 hours of fantastic gaming conversation.
Banter.
Yes, between the three of us. So if you liked this, you're gonna love that show because Joe is a madman, you know. So is Shoku Black. That's our friend Kevin. He's the third, part of this, crazy swirl of
ride or die video game geeks.
So on that note, thank you everybody for taking the time to sit with us. We will see you next time. Same geek channel, same geek time. And thank you so much. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.